Morning. See who's out there. Didn't want to wait to the last minute to get on here live, so here we are a few minutes early, hoping that all technology is working nicely. And I just switched to the church Wi-Fi, so if you experienced a little hiccup there, that's what that was, so we're good. All right. Morning, Kent. I wasn't even going to try going on Zoom this morning for the 55th time to get Chelsea's song. Morning, Mom. I've got her. Hey, Tina. We've got her song recorded, so I'm going to just hold it up to the camera when that time comes. So we'll see how that works. Hey, Pam, good morning. Or is that Russ? I'm finally getting it. The Russ signs in on Pam's account, so it might be Russ. So good morning to both of you. Let's see. Well, good morning, Jen. Got the PA contingency in the house. Morning, Karen. It's both good. Hey, Nancy. Morning, Laura. Morning to all three of you. Hey, Mark. Good morning. Blessings to you. Good morning, Jordan. Morning, Chelsea. I wish you were singing live for us, but we're going to make this work, doggone it. Morning, Jane. We'll give it a couple more minutes as we give our shout outs to everybody as they get signed on. Hopefully the feed is clear for all of you. My screen keeps showing this flash thing, but hey, as long as we're working, we're working. It's all good. Hope everybody is well on this beautiful, sunshiny, blue-skied morning. It's a great day for a walk or a run or a hike or a sit outside in the garden or do something healthy kind of morning. Good. Thanks, Jane. So it's just me. Maybe because I'm the host. I'll try not to look at myself too much. Morning, Brenda. Hi, Lois and Jim. Great to have you with us. All right. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. It's a blessing to have you all with us. And here we go. Put on your seatbelts. Let's do this thing. So I want to share our call to being from Brent this morning, something that he shared in our Lenten devotional booklet that I thought, well, speaking of the angel, there's Brent right there. Thanks, Nancy. He shared with us a reading from one of my favorite Buddhist sisters, Pema Chodron, from her book When Things Fall Apart. Hey, Scott, good morning. And this is, morning, Elaine. See, it's easier to join us when you're on this side of the pond, isn't it? So this is from Pema Chodron. She says, well-being of mind is like a mountain lake without ripples. When the lake has no ripples, everything in the lake can be seen. When the water is all churned up, nothing can be seen. The still lake without ripples is an image of our minds at ease, so full of unlimited friendliness for all the junk at the bottom of the lake that we don't feel the need to churn up the waters just to avoid looking at what's there. Let me read that second half again. Morning, Bill. The still lake without ripples is an image of our minds at ease, so full of unlimited friendliness for all the junk at the bottom of the lake that we don't feel the need to churn up the waters just to avoid looking at what's there. Imagine that, being at one and fully comfortable with ourselves, with every facet of our being. Amen and amen. Friends, the peace of Christ be with you all. Let us take a deep breath. May I have peace and joy. May you have peace and joy. May the universe have peace and joy. Amen. Morning, Brittany. So yesterday, Selah did up my makeup for me. Apparently, she's planning on opening up her own COVID cosmetology shop. I mean, you got to do what you got to do in this age of DIY haircuts, which I did again yesterday, having Austin help me with the areas that I couldn't see. And I was tempted to leave the makeup on, but I figured it might smear overnight, so I chose not to. So our song, our hymn, if you will, is Leaning on the Everlasting Arms. So I'll wait for Tuesday to get that link on there for the lyrics. This is one of those good old-time gospels, also one of those beer and hymn songs that you sing at the Wild Goose or wherever you're doing beer and hymns at. So, hey, if you got something in your hand, more power to you. There we go. I'll give you a moment to get that up. All right, and I'll try to get us started off at a decent key, which mostly means a key that I'm comfortable with. Sorry, y'all. Okay, here we go. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. There you go. I'm sure y'all sounded beautiful. All right. I do miss hearing you all. Okay. Hey, Barbie. Hopefully there you go. They were posted on there twice, so hopefully you got to, oh, there you go. I see it. You did. Good. Okay. So now, here we go. So I looked for a way to stream a video while you're on Facebook Live. So while you're streaming Facebook Live, how do you stream a video from your computer? Now you would think, hey, Catherine, sounds good. Glad to have you with us as long as you can. So I was looking in Facebook help and looking online, and you would think it would be just so simple. When you search, how do you stream a video, how do you play a video from your computer while you are on Facebook Live? You think it would be oh so easy, but they give you every answer but what you're looking for, or they tell you, well, it's kind of simple, kind of not. If you download this extra software, you can add these plugins and blah, 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 but for the love of God, I tell you what. So we're going old school. I am going to play this video from Chelsea because we've been trying since pretty much since Jesus got up out of the grave, metaphorically or whatever your belief system tells you, to try to get Chelsea singing this song. So I am going to play it off my phone and try to hold it up to the camera without my hand doing the shimmy shimmy cocoa bop and get it played for you. So here we go. Let me turn up the volume. I hope y'all can see it and hear it. And
this is Laudate Dominum by W.A. Mozart. Laudate Dominum. Omnes gentes laudate.
All right. Yes, honey, I know it's you. I just go by the name that shows up on the screen. Well, I hope you all were able to hear and see that, and I know you're all clapping where you're at, so I'll clap for you. It was really funky on my screen because it kept flashing back and forth to pictures of me, and I think there's actually I don't know how many second delay there, so I'm going to just sit here for a second and let everything get caught up because I kept seeing flashes of the video that I was playing, and then it would go back to my face from previous images, so it was kind of weird. So I'm just going to let the stream catch up to where I'm actually at right now. So somebody would post a comment if they are seeing in the stream after the video has ended of Chelsea singing. There we go. Okay, so I see Brent saying beautiful, so hopefully that means that we're caught up with each other so that it's concluded on your end. So I think there's probably a good 10-second delay or so from what I'm saying to what you are seeing. Okay, so having trouble playing the video. All right. Great. Thank you all. Now it says having trouble playing the video. Let me text Tuesday and see if she sees. If you're seeing me and I'm being silent, it says having trouble playing this video on my end. It's a black screen, so I just want to make sure that you all are actually seeing me because I'm not seeing myself. I didn't run Zoom this morning just so that everything would go smoothly, but here we are. So let's see. So I'm texting some of you to see what you are seeing. Actually, you know what? I think I should fire up my iPad so I can see what you're saying. How's that for an idea? I apologize, folks. Bear with me. I'm gonna go on Facebook here on my iPad and go to Christ Church of Chicago's Facebook and see. we go. Let's see where we're at here. Huh. I see you and hear you. Okay. Okay. Well, then, sorry, y'all. I will resume the sermon here in 2 seconds. I'm just okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna continue on here. So I'm not seeing me here on my other Facebook, but I'm gonna continue and stop delaying. My apologies. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate that. All right. Good. Okay. So I just can't see myself, which is kind of a blessing because it's funky. Maybe that explains the choppiness. So, all right, moving on. So today's text comes from Luke chapter 24. And this is the famous text on the Emmaus Road. Now on that same day, 2 of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking with each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know the things that have taken place here in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it's now the 3rd day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him." Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe that all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead, as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it is almost evening, and the day is now nearly over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, blessed, and broke it, and he gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within us while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour they got up and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he has appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road, and how he had been made known to them in the breaking of the bread. All right. I remember in 2016, after the election, there was a number of emotions: dismay, disbelief. So many people couldn't believe the outcome. So many people were scared about what was going to happen. A number of people wondered if it was the end of the world. I say that somewhat sarcastically and somewhat not for some people. But there was a lot of confusion, a lot of wonderment, and definitely a lot of concern. People felt that a lot of policies would be turned over and undone, which indeed we have seen. But without getting too political, there was just this overwhelming idea that there would be some suffering that would happen. When we look at society, when we look at people and the differences between people groups, we see, for example, right here in Chicago, what we call the death gap. In Streeterville, the average life expectancy is around 90 years old. So if you're living around the Hancock building and up around the Gold Coast, you can expect to live around 90 years old. You've got Northwestern University right there and a lot of great medical care, and you can afford it. But if you take the red line south down through past, Bronzeville and those neighborhoods down south, your life expectancy drops to around 60 years old. And they call this the death gap. And when one asks themselves, how is this even possible? It's easy to get lost up in this conjecture about, well, public policy and it's kind of, it's about the government and the way that there are these laws in place. There's a whole lot of red tape. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that would have to be undone before we could really fix this. Another thing that keeps coming up in my news feeds is the Navajo water issue. Something that maybe I was parenthetically aware of, but not really. Something that to me is disturbing. The Native Americans have always had their place in their heart, and some of you will laugh about this, but really, the way that the people who look like me, the white man, has come and taken a lot from a lot of people. But what's really baffling is how hundreds of years later, you have Native Americans on land that they were moved to. For some, it was their own land to begin with, who don't even have running water. And when we ask ourselves how that's even possible, maybe there is no water there, but I'm not so sure about that. Maybe it is as simple as digging wells. I don't know. But how has the government not done that for them or helped them to do that? And again, people may say, well, there's a lot of red tape because of the way that the constitutions and the treaties and everything is set up, and what the federal government, what they can do with the native tribal governments, and there's just a lot going on there, so it's kind of hard for them to work together. Yeah, okay, fine. But it's upsetting. And you find the followers of Jesus, these people that we didn't really hear about before in the story. They weren't the regular disciples of Jesus who are going along this road to Emmaus, this town some 7 miles away from Jerusalem. And Jesus appears to them, and he hears them having this conversation. He says, hey guys, what are you talking about? He says, we're talking about, what's been going on, what everybody's been talking about. He's like, yeah, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Are you the only stranger in all of this land who hasn't heard what's been going on? We finally had someone, finally the Messiah, who is going to come and help us with the empire, who is going to lead an uprising and destroy the empire and finally fix things, finally set everything straight, finally raise up the weak and bring down the strong and make straight paths so that everything was going to be the way that the prophets of old had spoken of. Finally, all of these things that we as a people had been waiting for, finally equanimity, finally equality, finally justice, and we put all our hopes in this man, and he was crucified. Our own religious leaders had him killed, and the empire, the government, did what they always do. They killed him. And here we are. We've got nothing. That's what we're talking about. How have you not heard about this? And Jesus says, you simpletons, what is wrong with you? You and the prophets? Come on, guys. When did the prophets, let's do a count. How many times did the prophets talk about some great leader rising up and saving your behinds compared to the number of times that the prophets talked about taking care of the widow, taking care of the helpless, taking care of the children who could not help themselves, taking care of the poor and the hungry and the weak? Do we need to do a count? And Jesus goes into this long exposition. And those followers, they listened. They listened as they went along the way. But the interesting thing is, they still didn't know that it was Jesus. They listened. Maybe they put in a little bit, put in a few words, but mostly they listened, not knowing who it was that they were listening to. And finally, after who knows how long, Jesus is like, well, I've got to be going on my way. It's getting late. I'll catch you guys later. It's been nice chatting with you. And Cleopas and the other person who was with him said, wait. Hey, it's going to be dark soon. We've got a group of people. We've got food. We've got shelter. Why don't you stay with us for the night? And Jesus says, all right. So he gathers with them in a home that wasn't his, just like he had done not even a week before. And he sits with them, reclining at this table as a guest, and he takes plain, simple bread, and he breaks it, and he shares it with them. And there, in that simple act of love and kindness, their eyes are opened. Oh my God, it's you. Mary, Peter, John, all those who said that you were still alive, you're still here. And then what happens? Boom. Jesus disappears. Because Jesus spent all that time along the path saying, this isn't about a Messiah who is going to come and save you. This is about each and every one of you practicing simple acts of kindness and love, just like this breaking of bread and sharing. Now, do you finally get it? In each and every one of these resurrection accounts, in each and every one of these appearances, Jesus models this again and again and again. These simple acts of love and kindness. And we're reminded that never once was change really affected through policy and legislation. Never once were hearts changed because somebody changed a law. The hearts were changed in the actions of human beings, in the words, in the motions. And from that, when the hearts and the minds were changed, then the policies followed. So what can we do about the death gap? Well, Rush Hospital started to decide that, well, here we are on Ashland Avenue. We've got the haves on one side of the street and the have-nots on another side of the street. Why don't we start sourcing our product from this side of the street instead of over here? Why don't we give the folks, this predominantly African-American neighborhood, why don't we give them a chance? Why don't we start helping them to start businesses and grow them and give them a chance to start sourcing the hospitals? What if we said, hey, you know what? There are plenty of excavators or whomever it may be in Arizona. Can they not donate their time and their resources to make a difference? Nobody has to tell them to. They can do it from the good of their own hearts. There are simple things that as we reach out to break bread and to hand it to a brother or a sister, or to hand it to reach out to receive that bread, to see these capable, good, maybe broken, maybe scarred hands, but to see that they are good enough, to affect change, to change hearts, to change minds that someday will affect maybe even policy, and that we will be the change, as we've heard it said, that we want to see in the world. This is what Jesus taught us. Amen and amen. So there's probably a delay, so I'm going to wait a little bit for for you all to catch up to my flapping jaws. If you want to, we're going to now move into our joys and concerns. So I'll wait. When I start seeing joys and concerns popping up in the comments section, I will know that we are getting closer to the same page. Right. And I will wait. I won't start us off. I'm going to go ahead and wait until I see some comments popping up. That way I'll know that we're kind of back on the same page. Looks like we've got a pretty hefty delay between one another. All right, so joys for a beautiful day outside. All right. So I'm going to comment at the same time as you guys. All right. Beautiful day. Apparently you are not seeing me at the same time. So we're going to make this work. And we are also asking for prayers for Lois as she heads to treatment tomorrow. She's going to have an aggressive set of radiation treatments over the next 5 days. So prayers for her. There we go. Joys of the summer. All right, here they come. Yes. So Peggy is staying healthy despite the coronavirus being active in her near living facility. Yeah, enjoys for the weather. Good. Holy cow, Ronan's going to be a year old already. Jordan and Tuesday's wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary. All right. Good. I'm seeing the comments come in. This is good. Hopefully we're catching up. Good. Amen. Prayers for a fast journey to God. That's a good way to put it, Bill. So prayers for Faye Futterman and for the whole family. Sue Ueda. Okay. So prayers for continued healing for her. Yeah, teachers and families who are learning new ways of teaching. Yeah, and learning. Yeah. Yeah, happy birthday, Ronan. Happy anniversary, says Sunny. It's great. So I'm gonna post prayers for Lois as she heads to treatment tomorrow. Radiation treatment over the next 5 days. Okay, good. So hopefully maybe the delay's gone now. I don't know. We'll see. All right. John says prayers for Claudia and her frontline team, 5 therapists and colleagues taken ill by the coronavirus, but they continue to forge on, making masks for Catholic priests. Yeah, while they're serving in the hospital. Yeah, hopefully this is the peak and we're going to come through on the other side, and that there comes a day when this isn't always in the am I trying to say, always our topic of discussion. Oh, prayers for Carol. Okay. Remind me, Mom, does Carol have Parkinson's or what? I guess we'll see right now how quick the delay is by how quickly Mom responds to my verbal question. Yeah, so if you can respond to what's wrong with Carol, then I will know how long the delay is. In the meantime, all senior facilities and their residents who have COVID cases and those who are reporting COVID cases who are COVID. Okay. So while we're still posting our joys and concerns, I'm going to going to pray in a moment because I realize there is a significant delay here. I'm also going to ask that that Tuesday post the offering. Realize there is a significant delay between what I'm saying when you actually hear it. So I ask that Tuesday. Okay, so at this time we'll have Tuesday post the link for the offering, and then do announcements, do the benediction, and we'll close this out because I get that it's Parkinson. Okay, so that was a Tuesday. Okay, so do you all have any announcements? Okay, great. G-Pub last Thursday. Off this day because I should probably speak it clearly as I'm typing it. So we had a great crossing this last Thursday. We had a theology pub, and this coming Thursday we're going to be off because it is the Thursday of the month. But we will be back the following Thursday with our contemplative service. Okay, so Brent is going to be hosting Zoom Bingo on Tuesday, April 5th at 6:30. Awesome. Okay. We are also going to have next Sunday at noon. Next Sunday at noon, we will have an all-church gathering via Zoom to check in and see how one is doing. Can join via camera, computer, or call in via telephone. The link and phone number will be posted. All right. So it's probably okay. We got the mask project. Good. Wonderful.